Look what we've got here today. It's another VHS-C video camera, or camcorder. This one it's got lots of stuff on it. It's a Siemens brand. So we looked at JVC VHS-C cameras, then we looked at that Hitachi one, and now we've got Siemens. This one is SVHS-C, 625 lines, PAL, and it's a video camera recorder, and the model number is, I guess it's that there, FA-259G4, guess, probably. Oh yeah, look at that, FA-259. And I think it's got hi-fi stereo audio as well. Doesn't say that anywhere, but stereo. So what has this thing got? Let's have a look. It has a viewfinder that lifts up and then can tilt. There's the control power switch here. It's got VTR off camera, and it's got a one-shot still button. Interesting. Create a still. I guess it just records a freeze frame for a period of time. There's the zoom control there. There's date time button, a fade button, auto manual low light. Not sure what that does. A little door here. Look what's in that. A bunch of little buttons. Rewind, play, fast forward, stop, pause. Then it's got date, time, shift, set, and also tracking, and then tape select. I guess that's the tape length select for the counter to work. Now focus, white balance, iris, close and open, and then there's this thing that you can switch over digital. I guess gain up, digital titler, wipe, mix, start. Or you got image stabilizer, digital zoom, still and strobe options. I guess those are the digital ones, aren't they? I don't know, do you get to do any one of those at a time? Not sure. On the front there's a focus plus and minus button, because you can't access any of the lens, so it needs electronic buttons to do that, which maybe you can select autofocus with that. Then there's a little door, and that's got video out, audio, stereo audio out, and the, what's that, is RF-DC output for powering an RF modulator. Tripod thread on the bottom. On this side there is S-video out and a new edit socket. Now open control, so that just swings open, but that doesn't actually do the ejecting. There's an eject button there. So that's interesting, so that part is not, I guess it makes it more robust, because the delicate mechanism is in there, out of the way, and you're not leaning on it, because the grip is there. Okay, and battery eject and connector there. And there's an OSD/M reset, SVHS, short play, long play. Interesting, that's written in small letters, not capitals. And a shutter button. And I guess that's a memory backup battery thing there. Oh yeah. Good. It's got a little arrow. I guess that's got flat. They usually go flat now. Okay, and also came with charger and a fairly universal Vata battery with a discharge button, and I don't think I have the cable that joins it up to that, so I guess we won't worry about that. We'll find another way to power it up. I don't know if I've powered this up before, perhaps I have. Yeah, so it takes SVHS tape, so it's higher quality, more lines, better bandwidth. It's a nice brand new national brand SVHS-C tape. Good quality stuff. Alright, let's turn this on. Well, we use this little power supply to try this out, see if it works. And then if it does work, we'll put a tape in it. If it doesn't work, doesn't matter, we're going to take it apart anyway. So we hook up a video. So it says there DC in 6 volts. I guess it just wires onto the battery terminals internally. We'll see that to 6 volts, quite a few amps, and hook it up and see what happens. Okay, I want to plug in the video signal so that we can see if anything happens. It'll probably work. That's a thing. I think the lens cap is broken. That side of it's fallen off, so it doesn't clip into the filter thread anymore. It just falls off. Oh well. Okay, well, let's power this up and see if anything happens. Oh, yeah, draw a little bit of current for a while. Let's switch it to camera. Oh, yeah, look at that. Need to push focus. Well, maybe it zoomed in a long way. Maybe the lens is jammed, I don't know. Doesn't seem to want to do anything. There's various information in there. Oh yeah, the tape selection thing seems to select between T45 and 30. That's NTSC, so that's 20 minutes, I guess. There we go, look at that. A XD Master 30 tape. Should we try wrecking it by putting it in there? Maybe we'll just use this normal, the one that's near the end, because we've already had a good go at it. Yeah, I think the lens might be stuck because it doesn't seem to respond to these focus or zoom controls. Let me try the still button. Yeah, look at that. The strobe option, like a low frame rate. So there must be some digital store thing in here. Like frame store. A bit weird that nothing moves. Gain up. Yeah, wipe. Start. Alright, let's put it into VCR mode. Yeah, it's making some good noises. And we'll open this up. Hit eject on that. I wonder how similar this mechanism will be to the others we've looked at. It doesn't sound very good, does it? I hit play, but it just turned off. Okay, I guess the mechanism is broken. It's making some crunchy noises, so I'm guessing it's already ruined my nice tape. Yeah, that's great, isn't it? Yeah, so this doesn't seem to be in the best condition. Tape mechanism, unhappy about something. Oops. And the camera is also unhappy about something. Good as new. Alright, so there's something unhappy in the mechanism there. Maybe we can pull off the covers and have a look. Disappointment all round. Put that stuff out of the way and we'll take it apart. Just want to see what's going on inside this. Now it's got an adjustable, oh yeah, so you can change the angle of the grip there. Not sure what you're supposed to do to release that. Guess it just does it when it feels like it. Okay, how do we get this apart? Oh, there's a microphone input socket there, which we failed to notice before. That was interesting. I can't easily... Anyway, we're going to open this up. Yeah, these screwdrivers that were fairly expensive Japanese ones. Got an adapter thing from AliExpress and it came with, amusingly, like an imitation version of one of these. It doesn't have any markings on it, so copied the style of the handle, but it feels kind of sticky and not as nice as a real one. But there's no markings at all on it. Does not fit those screws properly. Get out some real ones and have a look. So this is a 00. Yeah, see that locks in perfectly. This is a 0. Yeah, that's also a good fit. Be good enough that the screwdriver can just stick in there. Yeah, it's a 0. This, I don't know. It's probably like a 0.5 or something, halfway between a 1 and a 0. So yeah, well, it's Philips or something, not JIS. You can see these are the real JIS ones because it is just a sharp cross in there. It's not kind of softly rounded out the corners like a Phillips screw would is. It's very important to use the right screwdriver on these things, otherwise it will be destroyed. Well, the screw head will. No idea how this thing opens. Presumably once we've undone enough screws it'll just fall in half. Those ones are going into some plastic stuff. That's good. We've already got 2 thread types and at least 2 different lengths. That's what we like to see, isn't it? Yeah, all the bottom ones are shorter. Oh yeah. So that undid just a light pipe and a little switch assembly. The actual switch is down there, in there. Rusty screw. Oh, look, another length. That's a long one. Another long one. Yeah, look at that. That front piece is coming off. Sort of. I think we were supposed to just pull that bit off from around the lens, then get that control out, then slide this off perhaps. Oh yeah, and a microphone can be unplugged. Oh no, I should have unplugged it from that end because then you've got to put it back at the end. Oh well, that cable goes in both ways. Look, there's shielding in there, like conductive paint on it, and someone signed it or said that they'd inspected it. Stereo microphone there, presumably, since it's wide and it has these 4 wires going to it. Ah, look at that. That control on the lens, that was an auto manual low light. It was just electronic. It went to that switch there. It wasn't doing something in the lens itself. You can see the back end of the video head there. I wonder if that's some sneaky way of cleaning it. Or getting access to clean it. Oh, screw missing from there. Not sure if that helps since it's on the door. The record start stop button is also on the door and there's some wires to connect it up. Now all this has to pull out a long way to get that lens cap thing off. Okay, now something's happening. Okay, some connectors need to be undone. This is all delicate stuff in here. Yeah, so it's got a flex coming out there, and that goes to the viewfinder presumably. Oh yeah, viewfinder and some buttons. So that there's the hinge from the viewfinder. This weird double hinge. It sort of folds out of the way nicely. And then there's that row of buttons under the little door there. So that those go to that dual row connector there, and that plugs into this cable here. And the viewfinder, it's just another one that connects by just 3 wires. So we video ground power. So that's nice and easy. And then there's this blue flex, which has then been connected to this little PCB, which has test points and another one of those dual row type connectors, and then that plugs into the board there. Look at that, the whole camera assembly is just this part here, not very much to it. And presumably that there is one of the little motors that seems to have ceased to function. Oh yeah, we've got to try turn this thing on again once we've got it apart, so we can see those motors turning or otherwise. And also we've got to take the side off so we can see if the VCR mechanism does anything, or we can see what the VCR mechanism is or isn't doing. Look, there's some screws here that were covered by that side door thing. More screws on the bottom. More corroded screws. Oh, and these are another type. Very short countersunk style screws. That's great. We needed a few more different types. There must be a cable somewhere connecting, because that door, these buttons, oh look, it's here. There. Oh yes, so that gets all of it. So from there, wow, pulled up. Record start stop button through the door, around the hinge there, across and onto this. There's individual wires to that, and then there's a little circuit board under there that's got 3 more buttons, that one shot still and the zoom control. Now got into the good stuff, getting corrosion on that edit connector, that new edit connector. Must have had some dodgy stuff pouring into it. Interesting, must be power supply circuits here. They've made holes for the capacitors, except for that one. Well, it looks like they have. I don't know if that's coincidental. Don't know. Just probably, well, yeah, they are slightly coming through the middle, so yeah, that is intentional. But it is not a very good sign when you start seeing those surface mount electrolytics, because they are typically short-lived. I don't know what brand they are. They don't look like Panasonic ones, but you never know. There is Matsushita brand chips on there, which is Panasonic. It's probably is a Panasonic design. Should we try turning it on now? Let me get this door thing off so we can see what's going on. I think that will come off. This little cover part at least. Oh, but now it's just got more stuff in there. So this mechanism is a little bit different to the JVC one, which had a post down in there that flipped up to guide the tape. Whereas in this model, it looks like the roller is probably that one there that comes out on an arm, which we may or may not be able to see operating because this thing is in bad shape. Can we operate it without any of those buttons? I don't think so, because we need... Well, it's a bit sad really, because we need this half for the zoom control so we can see if those work or not. This half here is more important because it's got all the other bits and pieces on it. Probably going to end up accidentally ripping these cables off. Okay, let's try 6 volts. Camera. Yes, don't do anything. I'm going to plug this in and see if that motor turns at all when we do the zoom control. Oh, yeah, we do need this though because it's got the eject button on it. Yeah, that motor on the the lens doesn't sort of have any interest in trying to turn. Interesting. Oh no, that actually went to there. I'll put it in VCR mode and we'll have a go with the tape. Ah, it's all covered up anyway. Oh, no take up by the look of it. Okay. Oh no. Oh, it's withdrawing the tape in. I guess it didn't pull out enough to make a mess this time. So why don't these work? So in the JVC machine, was it the JVC one that we were poking about? It just started working after a while by just pushing these because they'd gone a bit stiff. It looks like there is a belt in there driving this stuff off of the capstan motor, which does seem to run fine. I can see it turning the capstan shaft over there. The capstan shaft has got black marks on it from the tape, or the pinch roller rubbing on it. And I think this is a well used machine. Let's just try again, see if it does anything different. Oh, look, it's peeling the tape out again. Don't know what its problem is. Maybe the capstan motor doesn't work at all. Although it has to work, because if it can peel tape out like that, then it must be moving. I think it's just lost control of the situation, hasn't it? That's very weird, because it can wind the tape back in, but can't do rewinding and fast forwarding. Power supply problems probably, because yeah, maybe it's in the same realm that motor won't, both the focusing and zoom motors don't work either. Maybe there's a power supply issue on this. Bit disappointing. Well, that's why these things are here, aren't they? Because they didn't work. So they were being got rid of, and that way we can take a look at them without feeling bad about destroying things. Okay, so let's take this apart a bit deeper then, since there isn't really much else we can do about it at the moment. Guessing this camera piece comes off as one little module. Oh yeah, looks like it's held on by... oh no. I thought it was 3 screws holding this bracket on, but no, because that also includes this board here. Really confusing. There's like a box on the screen saying OBS crashed. That's never happened before. It's always just worked. So it looks like it was still recording though, but it seems like there's definitely something wrong with the computer at the moment. Discord running, but for some reason that just keeps restarting itself. I don't even know what's going on. Anyway, so it lost some of the stuff that I had done, but really it was only opening this up, because what I was noticing is that there is a hinge looking thing there, although it's actually not a hinge, is it? It's just a plastic bracket. But yeah, we're undoing a bracket there, and ah, look at that, it turns open. Really, is that what it's supposed to do? Go like that? I guess so. I suppose when you want to get in there seriously, you then just release the board from that little clip. Have to keep an eye on this, that it's not going to just be crashed again and keeps recording. Put in a new motherboard, and there's been many problems since then. Not very impressed. Anyway, it looks like this is a complete camera unit. Is a one-piece thing with what looks like power going down that, because it's quite solid. Because it's got thicker cores and then control signals on there. So that there It's bringing all those camera related controls onto that board, which makes sense. And then I guess this one is the VTR related, yeah, VCR controls on this one and viewfinder, which makes more sense down to this board, which would be involved in that. Yeah, so that board on the back is the power supply, and then that is like reinforced by this here being what looks like a number of power supply rails. Thicker tracks comes into here, and then this is all the camera business. Looks like there's a slide or linear variable resistor there, probably to keep track of where the lens is zoomed to. There's a soldered on shield on the bottom of that board. Oh, the bottom of that board is full of ICs. Look at that. Heaps of them under there. All the good video camera stuff. See if we can get this out without wrecking it too much. The problem with these cameras is all those surface mount electrolytic capacitors either leak or dry up, and then you have a major job to try and get it going again. It's a bit disappointing. A lot of the capacitors from this time period were not really up to scratch and don't last very long. It's very common in your 90s Sony Handycams. Oh look, that capacitor just fell off. Yeah, that confirms it. See, it's fully corroded underneath, so that's why it fell off. So that must have been leaking, and yeah, that also possibly explains then why there was a bit of crust around that connector. It's probably been juicing out of this thing for years. Yeah, that capacitor might have, because if they go high impedance, then they'll start heating up if they're exposed to high ripple currents, and then they can burn the circuit board, or they just corrode it from the electrolyte leaking out. Probably electrolysis soldered in so many places there as well. Just we're going in for real on this one. Well, it's ruined, you see, that's corroded the board, so there's not really much point in keeping it, not really much point in putting it back together. Look at that stuff that's under there. All Matsushita branded things, and also Panasonic branded. Whole fancy camera solution. Oh, there's also Panasonic part numbers there too. It looks like it. VJB. That sounds like one of their part numbers. Little tantalum capacitors. Well, that's good. Now this little lens assembly. Not many other of the capacitors are ripe, about to fall off. Little integrated camera module with the image sensor on the back there. Little shielded box. You can see the back of where it hooks on, and then how they've made that flex board flat, and then that pops down and plugs into the board. All nice. There's the image sensor, good quality thing. Little dust seal there. There's the IR filter, and then motors. If we pull that motor off, we might be able to work out what it does. Yeah, because you can't move any of the lens parts by yourself manually, these motors don't have any sort of slip on them. That doesn't expose much. Oops. Yeah, that's the IR filter fallen out. Don't know what that did. Must be geared down a lot. I can't really see it turning anything. Maybe it is moving the zoom. It's just I can't get in there to give it a good turning. Oh yeah, look at that. It was a linear variable resistor there for the position of that. Oh yeah, turning that, it does move. Yeah, so that would have been the zoom motor there. So that one there must be focus, and that one there, the iris. Okay, oh yeah, look, there's the iris there. It's a little module, little thing there, it's all sealed up so we can't poke it around, but that would slide open like that. And at the end there's a little bit of ND filter stuff right at the tip of it, a bright sun right there, so it can open just a little bit and then block out a lot of light. And then the focus will be there, that will be a little stepper with a rack on it that pulls something along. Oh yeah, look at that little rack gear, drag the lens along for focusing. Great, that's the camera assembly. All good. Now, this part, the mechanism. First we should have a go at this power supply board. Yeah. Oh, that cover goes all the way along there. It's not a separate piece. So we're going to have to undo everything then. Okay, there's dew sensor. In case you bring this into a warm place from the cold, you don't want condensation forming on the video head. So that should sense that condition arising and shut it off. Well, at least prevent it from loading a tape, threading up a tape. Now there's a connector there. Oh, but there's also another screw down there. Oh, look at that. They forgot to use that double-sided tape. So in theory that just slides out. Okay. Frame. Now, memory backup battery holder thing there. Some kind of inductor choke there. Interesting looking capacitors there. And a bunch of electrolytics. Something in a little metal box there. Probably a switch mode power supply. Switch mode regulator. And then there's a copper insulating, copper shielding plate there with number 500 tape. Yeah, I guess there's a converter under that. What is that? Oh, power LED. Oh yeah, little tiny light pipe thing over it. I was wondering, maybe we should put, since we're here, maybe we should try desoldering that little can, since we can. See if that's got anything underneath it that's interesting. Now this AV output connector screwed onto the frame, but it's attached by a flexible ribbon. That's the one that goes off to the viewfinder and controls. You see this S-Video and Edit connector. It's also screwed onto the frame. That's good stuff, so it makes it nice and rigid and you don't risk breaking it off the circuit board when you yoink on the cables too hard. It's got a separate ground wire there. Aha, slightly suspension mount. It's a stepped screw. Alright, let's see if we can get into this thing. Oh yeah, look at that. There's good business going on there. I wonder if we can now push out these tabs. Oh yeah, fairly easily. Great. So, that's a row of inductors. They're not capacitors. They look like capacitors with the metal can on them, but they've got 4 terminals and their designator is L, so they are inductors. And then underneath there's a bunch of diodes and transistors, and I'm guessing that there is a power supply controller that drives them. Should be EW01949703. It's probably some multi-channel switch mode driver emitter. Guess that's what those really good caps are for. Make a bunch of nice power supply rails for driving the camera and VCR mechanism. And it's got a few boards on it. Well, actually not a few, just one main one and one sub board. Oh, that's a very rigid cable. Well, it's because it's got shielding on the other side. So does that one. I think there's a connector underneath. Oh yeah, it felt like something disconnected. Ah, and there's also a shield that is screwed down. Whoa, and there's more ribbons. Guessing that's head switching head amp circuit there. Yes, it does look like it. There's the bottom of the video head. That there will be from the motor driver of the video head. It's probably that stuff, I guess. But this come off the RF transformer. Since it is SVHS and hi-fi, it probably has a flying erase head as well. Does look like it. There are a fair few heads close together on that. So it's probably flying erase, hi-fi, and the normal video heads. So there's quite a lot of cores in that. So yeah, video head amp and switching in there. And there's some interesting little modules. Yeah, quite a solid thing underneath them with legs coming off of it. It's pretty interesting. There's probably a test connector there. None of those other caps seem like they're about to fall off. Pretty good sign. And various ICs on the bottom. Great. Now, at the bottom of the mechanism. Oh yeah, I guess that belt is just ruined, isn't it? Not, it's gone loose. So that's a capstan motor there. And it's on an angle, which is interesting. Slight angle. And then down there it goes to drive the supply and take-out reels. Little double-sided board there. You can see there's a sensor. Infrared light comes out one side, it reflects back off of something to go back in the other side. That there. So yeah, it's successive reflective and then matte finish on that wheel so that it can tell that it's rotating. Probably a mode switch there. And there's some select switch in there. End sensor there and there. Some other kind of thing there, I'm not sure what that is. It's pretty compact, small mechanism. So the loading motor, that's there in the side. And it'll have a worm coming off of it. And then, oh yeah, look, there's a ring gear around there, which there's probably two on top of each other that will then drag the loading arms around the place. Here we can see it better now. A ring gear all around that. And yeah, the spoked cogs, probably to make it more lightweight, or to lower the weight, lessen the weight. I wonder if we can take this whole mechanism off to investigate it further. Some very tiny screws there. They're red screws though. Thing is, you probably have to drive the mechanism to the eject position. Interesting, that screw wasn't in. There was no screw in that end. So someone else got there before we did? I think to take this apart, you have to separate more things with soldering maybe. Or do it from there. Here we go. Okay, because we didn't desolder that, it's still stuck together. There's another little interesting thing that I just noticed. So you were supposed to undo these ones here as well. Yeah, so it's end sensors, tiny little infrared light receivers, one on each side for detecting the end of the tape coming out, the clear leader part, and then we get an emitter down in here somewhere for that. Somewhere, not sure where. But on this side, the take-up wheel for the tape has got what looks like a little tiny magnet ring around it, and then there must be a little tiny Hall sensor in there so it can detect the rotation of it. It's pretty interesting. I guess the take-up's done by that reflector thing, and then the supply reel rotation's done by that wheel reflector wheel thing that we looked at, and then take up by that magnetic thing. Yeah, it's a very lightweight mechanism. You can see its cast alloy frame there is very lightweight. It's just thin walled and then shaped appropriately so it keeps fairly rigid while being quite lightweight. Alright, I think there's one more thing to look at, and that is the viewfinder. We've got to take that apart. I wonder how we get that off. I have to dig into all this business in here. This might be the first screws that are not 0. The actual number 1 screws. I was thinking that everything is using 1 screw size, but not quite. Oh, it goes the whole way along. But then that there is back to being a 0 size. And it's quite a bit more grippy. So it's all one continuous piece. No, that's not possible because that comes out there, so it can't be manufactured as one piece. It's not one piece. It's 2 pieces that are stuck together because it ends. One of them ends there, or does it? That's confusing. Yeah, well that definitely ends there. So that piece is separate to that piece. Yeah, I think they're just stuck on top of each other there. So yeah, it is made of 2 pieces. This is an interesting material, much softer than that like mylar style stuff. Pretty interesting. Small board that the viewfinder is attached to. Does that come off though? You then have to undo screws from the end of it. Oh, that one's difficult to get off. Will that make it come out? I don't think so. There's more to it than that. Maybe you take it off here. Yeah, that seems more coming offy. Big long screws there. Yeah. Oh well. And then somehow does that wire all have to go in there? It would have if that didn't fall apart because I took the other end of it off. Okay, so the viewfinder is now separated. I've done some ring thingies. Well, caution, high voltage, do not open. Let's open it. Okay, let's see. Oh, look at that. The CRT Oh, it's not adjustable, it's just in a kind of sleeve thing. Weird. Alright, look at that. This is a tiny board. It's very integrated. One little IC there to do all the business, AN2514S. And then a bit of stuff on the bottom, some caps, some trimmers, transistor, some resistors, and then some more caps and inductor. The oopsies, can't see it. Flyback transformer there. That was the bottom in case you didn't see it then, as I wasn't watching. And yeah, the CRT is in there. Oh no, look, it just pops out, that's good. Made in Thailand. Interesting. It's got a little plastic sheet glued to the front of it. And that is a whole ring, so I don't know how that comes off. I think it has to slide all the way down the tube, doesn't it? Not off the front. Oh, Matsushita tube. M01KKX07WB04. Made in Thailand, and there's the deflection coils. A wonderful little unit. So maybe that's us. That's our quite detailed exploration of this camera that unfortunately didn't work. Due to power supply issues most likely. So hopefully that was exciting, and stay tuned for next time. We'll probably destroy some other piece of equipment to see what interesting things are inside it. What do you think we should do next? I think there's another another VHS-C video camera calling to us. Panasonic one. So maybe we'll give that a bit of a poke around and see what the deal is inside it. Anyway, till then,